I don't know if this is going to be a ramble or a rant. And for those that are listening, I'm going to give you a trigger warning, okay? If you are conservative and you believe in the innate criminality of black men, and you hold to the white talking point of black on black crime, and you're always pointing at Chicago and what's going on in Chicago, and that's where you feel you're an ardent Trump supporter and this, that, and the third, and you believe Trump is going to help improve the race, all that kind of stuff, this may not be the video for you. So you should click off right now, okay? Because I may piss some people off and I may hurt some feelings or whatever, and all that is good. Because I always said from the very beginning, from the very first video, I don't belong to anybody, I belong to the truth, because I'm a Gnostic. And I'm a black Gnostic. On top of that, that has two meanings. Not only am I a seeker and knower for the hidden truth, the dark truth, which is hidden, the esoteric truth, which is hidden, but also black Gnostic, because I'm a black man. And I'm a seeker of truth for my people, my black people, especially my black men, unabashedly. Now that that's gotten out of the way, you know what? I was actually editing a video, editing sound for a video, the one I just put up today. And I was actually editing sound for it, and I happened to click across Bernard Riley's. And when I first saw the title, I knew I shouldn't even looked at it. It was Mr. Fantastic talking about George Floyd. And does the video change the way that you actually see George Floyd? And I knew what it was, because he said the same thing about Ahmaud Arbery. He doesn't say it anymore because the truth came out about him. But the thing is, as I'm listening and I look at the title, I already know what it is. I know exactly what it's going to be. I know exactly what they're pretty much going to say. And you know what the talking points are going to be and whose side they're going to take, because you've heard this before. And as the Dark Knight said in the clip, as Batman said in the clip in The Dark Knight, you either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself as a villain. And I think that's what has happened to the black community. The civil rights era is over, basically, and either it would have died or it morphed enough to where we see ourselves as villains. And I think we have come full circle like that, just as he said. But let me get into my ramble. I just wanted to explain the clip in case people were kind of wondering about it. Earlier, I think it was about 2-3 weeks ago, I was actually on a panel with Kendra, and I'm trying to remember exactly what we're talking about, and I can't remember exactly what we're talking about. Probably have to go back and refresh my memory, but the thing is, this is a ramble, and I really don't care, okay? Where we were actually talking about the manosphere, and I do believe we were talking about game. I think that's what we're talking about. But something came up where she said that the way that black men in the manosphere, on the black manosphere, talk about black women and the things that they say about them shows a level of self-hate. And I corrected her. I said it doesn't show self-hate. I said don't use that as a crutch, as an excuse to actually excuse black women's bad behavior. Because the black male critique of the black female in the manosphere is a critique. It's not self-hate. Because most of these black guys still date black women. It's not hatred of black women. It's not hatred of yourself. It's a critique. And I said, male and female, black male and female show their self-hatred in different ways. Black females show their self-hatred of themselves by trying to look like somebody else. They try to shape their bodies. They try to put on wigs, contacts, all kinds of stuff to actually thinking that they're going to make themselves into a white woman. Even date a white man, thinking that the white man can imbue whiteness on them. That's why they in league with the white feminists. That's how they show their self-hatred of being who they are, being in the class that they are. I said black men show their self-hatred in a different way. When black men show self-hatred, they don't attack black women or anybody else. They attack themselves. And at the time, I said, I hope I don't have to do a series called The Myth of White Manhood. Because everybody knows I did a series called The Myth of White Womanhood, which was clearly on display because the myth of white womanhood is throughout history is very obvious. And the myth of white manhood, in my opinion, is basically attacking each other, trying to put divisions between black men, because you're seeing These are the black men and your brother through the eyes of the oppressor. That's how black men show self-hatred throughout my 61 years. And I've heard it in so many shapes, forms, and fashions about this division, this hatred of black people. Really the hatred of yourself, or the black person in you. There have been scholars in the conscious community that have said that black people have a dual conscious or double-minded in this society. They've been trained by two different systems. One, an American system that teaches you to be white, and one, a black identity. The reality in life on the street, life in America teaches you to be black. And I've always said that the first white man that you have to kill to be free, the main white man you have to kill to be free, is not the one on the street, not the one that you see on TV, or not the one that you see living in the suburbs, or even the cop on the beat. First one you got to kill is one in you. That's social conditioning to make you think that you're the oppressor, or that you think that you're white. That is the one that's most dangerous. It's not the one on the outside. The most dangerous white man that lives in the black community lives in every black person's conscious, male and female. It just plays out differently. And white people let their foot off your neck for a few minutes, and basically you start spouting white talking points, and you start attacking each other, calling each other names. Now, the brother that was on the channel that thinks that he's not one of these people and that there's a difference, same one that called me an old nigga. Talk about nigga talking points. He actually uses a word, using a ghetto language and a ghetto word, but I'm not one of them, really. Because according to me, man, you sound just like them. There ain't no difference between you and the dude on the block. In fact, in my hood, the dude on the block is more eloquent than you. That's just me. Shots fired. What the fuck? But what I was hearing on Bernard Riley's is something that I thought I would never hear in this sector, because I was used to hearing it in a MGTOW sector. But at least they were nice about it. They saw certain things a certain way, but at least they put it in a velvet glove. At least they tried to use data in situations. And to be honest, in the white MGTOW sector, we had a difference of opinion, but I never felt hatred towards me. My white MGTOW brothers never showed me hatred. They might have ignored me from time to time. They didn't promote me. They might have even stolen or borrowed some of my work without giving attribution, which I didn't mind, because hell, they borrow my work over here without attribution, which I never cared about one way or the other. But I never felt hatred or a display of hatred from them. And these are supposed to be the oppressors, right? But I knew that in the white MGTOW space, which is supposed to be neutral, that what I needed to say to black men was going to be not received well on that particular channel. Rightfully so. It's not their room. Okay? It's not my room. It's their room. And I humbly and quietly made another channel for my men, for people like me, people that have color like me, people that went through the same experience as I did on the other side. I went to a white school, lived in a black neighborhood. So if anybody knows about being double-minded, I do. Because it was, for me, it wasn't hidden, it was stark. I had this stuff said to me. I had teachers say it to me. I had teachers trying to hold me back. I had teachers that looked at me with disdain. So I knew that I wasn't necessarily liked by certain people. But guess what? I had tons of white friends. And the white kids that I was around, I never felt hatred. Okay? They didn't understand me. Some might have looked down upon me. Some may have even pitied me, but I never felt hatred. Even when I went back to my 10-year class reunion, they were still my boys. I never felt hatred. Why? On the black side, I see black people hating themselves. And that's what I've been hearing over the past couple of years with this, man, this division, this self-hatred, and trying to use women as an excuse. And as soon as the women's talking points start, you start attacking yourselves, which is something that blew my mind. The women are actually listening for a change, actually dialoguing for a change. You know how I don't know? Because you're running over there every night. You have them on your panels. Instead of dialoguing about your problems, what you're doing is trying to prove which brand of black man is the better man. So I even develop an octane scale, which talks about class, so that you would better understand yourself, because black people really don't have a class system, especially among black men. They really don't have a class system. It's a very fluid society. And we, black men, we actually love having a fluid society. We like going to the barbershop in the ghetto. We like snapping our fingers to Jay-Z or Lil Wayne, or singing a song by T-Pain talking about strippers. Just like Kamala Harris was in the White House dancing to Cardi B. Kamala Harris is a high level 92 and Cardi B is a low level 85, a stripper. But we like that. We like our society and our class system fluid. We like sitting down and slapping dominoes and having low-class fun at a barbecue. We like being fluid, or at least we did, until something negative comes up, and then you look in the mirror and realize that you're a black man in America. And no matter where you are or how hard you work, you will be seen as a black man. That's a class, a hard glass ceiling that you cannot get past. Jews have been amongst white people for like 1,500 years, and they know about this ceiling. You're in a society where you have been presented and developed as a lower class caste person, identified by skin color, and you hate that. You hate that thing in you. I suffer from it. Every black man suffers from it. Every black man hates being associated with whatever, with its past, with criminality, with being rapists. Hell, we had our foremost scholar in this sector, Dr. Tommy Curry, the foremost scholar in this sector, awards up the wazoo, books up the wazoo, only 40 years old. He's published 10 times more than his colleagues. He's in the academy. And to escape that blatant caste system that has been really swallowed by both sides. It's not just the white men that accept this stuff. I hear plenty of black men spew the exact same thing. And you know what? That's what fucking pisses me off. It really does. Like when Bernard Riley, okay? Everybody wanted me to get on. Everybody wanted me to get on. And I got on. And I talked. And the very dudes that claim that they are not that George Floyd exhibited the exact same behavior that as if I was talking to George Floyd, where I had to basically go hood and cuss a dude out just so he wouldn't call me a nigga in public. Because he thought it's so accepting of him. This ghetto behavior is so accepting of him that he's so accepted by him. He thinks that's regular language. But I'm so much better than George Floyd that I'm willing to excuse a racist white cop that sat on his neck and killed this dude on camera while people were filming and didn't give a shit. And you trying to excuse this dude that it's George Floyd's fault that he got himself into this situation. Now, I got up there and I knew I shouldn't have got my black ass up there. Let's get it clear. I put myself in that situation. I knew I shouldn't hit that link. I knew I shouldn't have got into this battle because I knew where it was going. And I knew even while listening to it, because I was getting ready to cut it off. Because trust and believe, this kind of shit disgusts me. I'm gonna be honest about you. That kind of stuff disgusts me. It is no pushback. It is no discussion. When white people, I'm getting ready to rant. When motherfucking white people, Becky's and white people can carry a fucking BLM sign and know the depth and wrongness of a sworn police officer that's sworn to protect and provide order in this society, in America, that's supposed to stand for justice. Because the reason these poor peasants came here in the first fucking place is because they couldn't find justice where they were. And they thought that America was going to be different. There's going to be a new system, democratic, ruled by law, and every man was innocent until proven guilty. A set standard of procedures that everybody, every citizen was supposed to be imbued with it. Life, liberty, and a pursuit of happiness. Ordained by God from on high. And America was supposed to be the experiment where this could actually be developed till its fullest. That was over 200 some odd years ago. And it wasn't that George Floyd was killed by police. It happens 200, 300, 400 times a year. Dudes shoot guns, they run away, they do all kinds of stupid shit, and they get themselves killed, right? Chicago, LA, New York, Philly, Baltimore is full of them. Happens all the time. Atlanta, happens all the time. White and black, happens all the time. Trained police officers are the reason you pay them so much, reason you send them through thorough training, psychological training, all this kind of stuff is so that when they encounter people like this, and George Floyd by no means was the worst. Some white dude just fired off an AK-47 and survived. There's mass murderers that have killed good gods of people, arrested and survived. George Floyd was accused, not proven, accused of passing a counterfeit $20 bill, which is a misdemeanor. Anything under $1,000 in the state of Minnesota is a misdemeanor. You approach the car like it's a felony stop. You pull him out of the car and handcuff him. And you're going to take him down the station before you're actually investigating. At no time did I hear them talk about the counterfeit $20 bill. Now, maybe it went on. Maybe that was the discussion. But at no time did they discuss the actual crime, the actual misdemeanor. Even the shop store owner, which I will probably play sound of, said that what happened to George Floyd was way overblown. Way overblown. And what I was hearing in Bernard Riley's podcast is the reason that I left the Black Gnostic Speaks channel 5 years ago. Just left. And trust and believe what they were saying over on the Black Gnostic Speaks channel on the MGTOW side was nothing like I was hearing over here. White men would not have dared in a MGTOW space to say the same shit that was saying openly by people that look like me. Ever. They would never say it. Ever. They wouldn't say that shit on the MGTOW side because the MGTOWs themselves would get on their ass. You can't say that shit here. So we come over to the Ibmore side in the manosphere, supposedly, and for months on end, and this is a cycle. I said for months on end, it's the educated lanes versus Pookie and Ray Ray. Yeah, I'm gonna use educated lane. I don't care. I don't give a fuck because that's where it started. And basically, I don't care how you couch it, what you say, and how it does. You can call it hood niggas versus whatever, classic men, or whatever you want to couch it. The same shit, the same cycle. Why? Because this ladies is the self-hatred actually acting itself out. Sergeant Willie Pete does this all the time. How come black people cannot act like other people? How come black people have to be this way? How come we can't do the same thing that white men do? Why is our criminality so much different than white men? Even though those answers have been answers going all the way back to God to 1890. Go back to the Mohawk Conference of 1890. They actually said it. It hasn't really changed. Tommy Curry wrote a whole freaking book about how we got here. Now, we might be mad at our women is because our women, took their ball, not went home, but gave it to white women. Okay, now we got issues with that. But the thing is, everybody knows why the black community is the way it is. Hell, I fucking grew up in the 80s in the crack era, right down the street from the main part of the city where they're selling this shit. I drive 2 miles from where I live now, right to the whole stretch, right along the freeway where the majority of the crack houses were. And I'm full aware of the history behind the United States pumping drugs into this neighborhood to make money, and the banks to make money. They did the same fucking thing with the Hispanics and the Cubans in Miami. They did the same fucking thing in East LA after 1992. Same thing, same violence, same everything, right? We know why. We know what made the black community. That's obvious what made it. Pick up a book, pick up a newspaper, because it's still going on. It ain't changed. But that has nothing to do with it. That's just cover. That's just an excuse. What's really going on is basically because I suffer from it. I know. I am dual-minded. I have a dual conscience. I was trained by white supremacy, in the heart of white supremacy, by what we call white supremacists, okay? In a little white school, and had to catch the bus to come back to my neighborhood. I saw the stark difference about why one neighborhood is one way and one neighborhood is another. You looked at the fucked up schools in Baltimore. You looked at the fucked up schools in St. Louis and the fucked up neighborhoods and the money they drain out of those poor neighborhoods, and you wonder why they are the way they are in America. And then you push in drugs and guns and you think it's going to be peaceful. And it didn't work out for Mexico. They get the 5 most violent cities in the world are in Mexico because of drugs and guns. Oh, but we're talking about black people. That doesn't count for anything. That doesn't matter. You know why it doesn't matter? Same thing with out of wedlock births. Highest percentage of out of wedlock births on the planet is in Colombia. A whole society. You know why it doesn't matter when it always comes back? Well, we talk about the black neighborhood and black people. Because that little white man inside your head is telling because you have black skin and the way you talk is inferior. And every little thing that is caused by black people, every little idiosyncrasy is caused by black people, every little bit of dysfunction that black people display in this environment, you hate. Same reason the black woman doesn't like you and talks about you like a dog. Because in her double consciousness, she thinks that you're preventing her from being white. She thinks that you are preventing her from being white. If she wasn't tied to you, if she could divest from you, she could be what she wanted to be, which is accepted like a white woman. And guess what? You guys are similar. Okay, because you think exactly the same thing. If you could divest yourself from these group of black men and this black behavior, you would be accepted by white folks as white. Even though all your scholars and the richest black man in America, Robert F. Smith, disagrees. Why? Because he's been through it. He's been in the halls of power. He's been in the seats of power. He knows how they still look at him. Why do you think Robert F. Smith for years never put his face on his company? Huh? He knew about his double consciousness, and he knew how the little white man inside of him would see his black face on that display. And so do you, which is why when I got on that panel with Bernard Riley, right halfway through it, and the dysfunction that was displayed and the hatred of other black men was displayed, I knew I couldn't do it. That's why I said I can't do this. And it wasn't just that panel. I had to reach out to my good brother who has the biggest heart for black men and boys that I've ever met. The greatest soul and greatest champion, I'm going to tell you, of black men and boys that I've ever met is Dr. Tiosan Johnson. Okay? I had to reach out to him. I had to talk to him because at that moment, I was on the verge of giving up. Because I know what the black community is facing. And I know that abyss was looking at me. And that little dot of hope that I had for the black community was starting to ebb and fade out. And I had to reach for somebody that had a brighter light than me that I trust. So I reached out to the brother, talked me out of the abyss, because I'm on the verge of giving up. 40 years in, I'm on the verge of giving up. It's not because of what the white community is doing. They're going to do what they're going to do for their own reasons. They play their side of the board. I get that. In chess, they're supposed to play the white side. We're supposed to play the black side. I get that. One thing that white people, the white chess players or the white pieces don't do is attack each other. The white pieces never want to become black. What I'm seeing on this side, and I've seen it before, but I never thought it would get to this degree, to the point where I would want to give up. And this generation, maybe it's a generational thing. Maybe it's the subtle brainwashing that these kids have gone through. That I would actually sit on a black manosphere show and hear the talking points of the oppressor coming out of black mouths and be more adamant about it. And not for money. I understand Larry Elder. I understand Thomas Sowell. I even understand Anthony Brian Logan and the stuff that he talked. I understand they're doing it to get paid. I understand the Candace Owens. Candace Owens don't believe that shit. She don't believe that shit. But that's how she makes money. What I heard on that panel are true believers. Because they think that if we nix this so-called sector of Pookie and Ray Rays, which is far bigger than you actually think it is, and much more embedded into your economy and your workforce than you actually think it is. You think Pookie and Ray Ray stay Pookie and Ray Ray after they get like 22, 23, maybe even 25? You think they stay that way? You think Valdez just displays his, man. You look at the Angry Man, you look at Valdez with the tats and all that kind of stuff. He just wears it. He wears it. Now, he wears it proudly because he doesn't give a fuck, right? He displays his. There's a whole lot of dudes that are embedded into trucking and into corporate America and into your postman that delivers your mail, your FedEx driver, your UPS driver, your long haul truckers, your programmers, all embedded in all types and all avenues of black life, okay? Just like your black women, your ratchets, your 85s, they grew up in the hood, man. You think just because they got an education and they wear Prada and they wear a different kind of perfume that they still not ratchet? That seedling of that ratchet girl, that 85 girl that grew up poor, still not there? It's still there. And just so say you nuke this behavior. Say you nuke it. They're still not going to accept you. It's embedded into the psyche and the fabric of America. You are an untouchable. Until you're blended out, you will remain an untouchable. You think you're going to, you have this dream of starting your own little segment of your little pocket of black America. And your little pocket of black America is not going to be, is going to be left alone to flourish as what you think of as the epitome of blackness? Are you kidding? Are you guys really that stupid? I'm not going to be couch words here. Are you guys really that fucking stupid? They mean to assimilate you. They mean to assimilate you like the Borg, not the Federation. This is not the Federation. This is the Borg. Not only have they fed it to you, you feed it to your kids now because they let you move into the suburbs and mix. Now you feed the same stuff to your kids. Now they don't have to do anything. That's what I was telling the black women. You're trying to save the fucking black community because you think that black men are dating out and that there's something that you can do about it. There's something that you could have done about it probably happened with the boomer generation. And we didn't see it in time because that subtle brainwashing that was allowed to be put into our children is taking hold. It's taking hold so much that you're following the same pattern and program that's going to actually flourish and flower in your children. And once it does, it's over. The black community exists in name only. And really, the only really exists in name only is because white people still want a black community. White people didn't still want a black community. Black community would have died years ago. That's why a lot of black scholars say that integration was bad. And you think it's because of the lack of black pride and lack of black development. No, the real ones, the ones that know what's going on and exactly know what's happening and actually know how this stuff is actually done, they know you really want to be white. You really do. I know it. At least the women will say it. The women will admit it in themselves because they know it. And how it expresses itself is different. You thump your chest, you want to be superior, and you're superior because your athletes are out there and whatever, for stroke of luck or however it is, black American black males are actually seen as masculine, as the epitome of masculinity. Were it not for that, we'd have been absorbed years ago. Which is why, even though I get pushback for SYSBM, and I agree with it, I think black men should have a choice. I think black men should have a right to be happy in the system, whatever mate they pick, and not be shamed for it. That's one reason. But the main reason that it's inevitable anyway. As a realist, as a person with a utilitarian mindset, as a person that has looked at this from an angle of geography and culture worldwide, you can see admixture coming. You can see the plan. You can actually walk the plan all the way up from 1945 and realize they're exactly where they wanted to be some 70 years ago, almost 80 years ago. We're right in the middle, right smack dab in the middle of where we should be. 75 years later, 150 years for cultural change. Generation 4, which is disease, they've already digested this stuff. They've already digested that there is no walls. There is really no race loyalty, as we want to call it, which race is a fallacy. And basically, they're more willing to do what? To mix, to admix, to put the walls down. Even the poor white guys that fought against it for so long, man, they got little mixed grandkids and they just accept it because it is what it is. They're busting up your communities, gentrifying your communities, not to make them better, but it's to bust up your community so that you will be forced to mix faster. If you look at the data, if you actually pick up a book and you actually study this stuff, if you're really concerned about it, which I know black people really aren't concerned about it because they don't even look at it. They don't study. They don't care. You bring them facts, they bring you feelings. They don't care. I'm doing a study on basically what conditions are making single motherhood so popular amongst women, and why is it spreading like this? And it's not just the black community. There's something else going on. But the thing is, black people don't want to accept it because what? Guess what? You hate being black. You think if you eliminate this, then I will be all hunky-dory in the black, that you'll have a hunky-dory black community that will look exactly like the white community. Robert F. Smith, the richest man in black America, right? Richest man in black America. Just listen to him talk about structural racism. But you know who doesn't believe in structural racism? Black people. You think that you can one-man army, you can think you can alpha this away. You don't even understand the problem. But you think this by being masculine and using white talking points and agreeing with white people about George Floyd and people like him will magically make you more acceptable to the dominant society. Really, that's that dual consciousness. You need to have a talk with that little white man inside of you and get him to calm the fuck down. Because you're not being spit out by the snake. You're actually being eaten by the snake. And you're halfway in it, and basically whatever they're pumping into your head to make you easier to digest, that's what's going on right now. George Soros and Black Lives Matter is just another vehicle. The thing is, they saw it years ago. They know what has you by your short hairs. You know what has you by your short hairs. You just want to admit it. Just like Pinocchio. If I've served the white master, I served Geppetto long enough, the blue fairy will come down from heaven and make me into a real boy. I won't have this dark skin. I'll have these blue eyes and good hair and good job. And I can actually drive down the street without cops fucking with me. That my partner, who I've known for 30 years, he's been saying it consistently for 30 years, man. Because he's dealt with this stuff worldwide, not worldwide, nationwide, worldwide, internationally. Every black American needs to sit on somebody else's couch for therapy. And watching black YouTube devolve into what I just heard, a sector that you helped build. I didn't build it, but I helped build, help expand, devolve into what I heard. Why don't y'all go all the way over to Entry Brian Logan's channel when he has a live stream and join in. Just join in. Stop the pretense. That's how you really feel. Stop the pretense. That's where you want to be. And you'll probably be amazed. What they're saying and what you're saying basically is like 99% the same. The only difference is you're more emotional about it. At least they're analytic. At least with a white guy, I can talk to him about it. At least we can actually go through the facts and be heard. Your dysfunction is being screamed at the top of your lungs on panels on YouTube, which is why right in the middle of it, I said, Bernard, I can't do this. Can't do this. I know what it is. I see what it is. I've heard this for many, many years, and I can't do this. Rest in peace, black community. I've shed too many tears over it. There are no more tears for the black community. I hope to save as many black boys to make them functional as possible, no matter what they choose. That's why I had to reach out to Dr. Johnson, because to me, it's like, I don't do this for money. Don't do this for money. The experts that I bring in don't do this for money. They still have hope. They still have hope. They have double conscious, but the thing is, their black side, their conscious side, because they've been in the halls, they've been in the belly of the beast. They know what it's like. And they know if they don't reach out and help black boys, that this beast will consume them, will consume the whole black community. And they have to do what little they can to help pull it out of them, pull this morsel out of the snake's mouth. And I have to show that glimmer of hope that I was using, even though it's small. I have to show the glimmer of hope in the way I talk and the way I present things. And for just 1 minute, that glimmer of hope just blinked out. I was done. I need to sit on the beach with my headphones and read religious texts, read esoteric texts, and leave all this behind. Anyway, as Batman said, to reiterate, you either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself as a villain. I've seen it with myself. I'm seeing it with the black community. I probably wished it would have died a quick death as a hero and be remembered, instead of this self-hatred that is so apparent. When white people, that's what blows my freaking mind. White people can actually see the injustice that happened on that street, on that camera. White people, literally white people, probably don't have black friends, can see the injustice. And know that injustice, as Martin Luther King, injustice anywhere is injustice everywhere. They saw the naked injustice of their own system, and they decided this is not who we are. And black men on YouTube in public defend that injustice and are proud of it. Maybe I'm living in an altered reality, man. Maybe what I heard isn't what I heard. All I know is that if this is the way the manosphere is going to go down, I can't be a part of it. I'm sorry. If this is the way the black manosphere is going to be, I can't be a part of it. You don't need me to self-destruct. You don't need me to tear yourself apart. You don't need me to do negative panels left and right, 4 or 5, 6 hours of ripping each other apart. The women are probably sitting back laughing because they ain't got to do it. You're doing it. Bringing a little money and a little pussy, and Negroes lose their mind. The real them come out. And like I said, if this is what it's going to be, I can't be a part of it, man. If this is what it is, tear up my ghetto past now. Because I didn't come over on this side for that. I might as well go back to the MGTOW side and make some money. Go over there with Coach Reg Adams. And don't talk about race at all. And get 100,000 subs. And stop YouTube from shadow banning me. Get the feds off my ass. So I can get me a little villa someplace on the continent or in Latin America, man, and basically chill. Anyway, I'm gonna bounce off of here. This is my rant. I don't know if it's gonna be a series or this is it, because at this point, man, the black pill is starting to consume me. And I'm starting to be more Owlman than Batman. I don't like it. Anyway.